Welcome to Boots in Baltimore. This is LeeAnn Blanchard. I'm here with AJ Riedel from SagePreneur Coaching. So tell us a little bit more about what SagePreneur is.
Well, Sagepreneur, the name Sagepreneur came up. It's the word sage and then preneur for entrepreneur or solopreneur. And sage is the wise part of our brain. I mean, when you think of a person who's sage, they are a wise person. And we actually have a wise part of our brain that most of us don't spend much time in. So my goal as a coach is to teach people how to spend way more time in their sage brain and far less time in their survivor brain. You know, where the stress response, fight, flight, freeze, fawn, that's all coming from the survivor brain. All of our negative emotions come from the survivor brain. And most of us spend most of our day in negativity. So
Kind of like putting out fires, you're always in that panic mode. I can definitely identify.
yes,
So this coaching niche is pretty specific. Tell us more about how you chose it, why this specialty particularly.
I picked this specialty. I was a solopreneur way before the term solopreneur became popular. I ran my own consulting business, just me, for over 30 years. And I realized after, and as I got to the end, I didn't realize it was the end, but in the last couple of years of my business, I I just lost interest. And it was not my passion. It had always been a way to make money to support the family. So I'd lost my passion and I had lost my interest in doing anything business development, sales. So at the end of 2018, I had one client and they were a retainer client and they paid enough to keep me comfortable all month, for the month. Um, I wasn't doing anything else and they fired me. Well, they took the project in-house, but that's code for they fired me. And I didn't have the energy to build my business up again. And then that happened to be right before my 65th birthday. And I had this crisis on my 65th birthday where I had all these regrets for what I had not done with my business. So I wanted a do-over. So the next 3 years, every year I tried to start a coaching business. And every year after a couple months, I'd lose interest and I'd just abandon the project. So this year I knew I had to do it differently. That's kind of a long-winded answer for the reason I'm interested in doing this is because I realized that I never dealt with the internal stuff, the mental stuff called perfectionism, procrastination, insecurity, fear, self-doubt, not enoughness, all of that inner baggage. I never dealt with it when I started my first business. I didn't know I needed to deal with it. But because I didn't deal with it, it was like building my house on a shaky, poorly constructed foundation. And over the years, the foundation settled and the walls cracked. And, at the end of 2018, my house fell over, figuratively. I don't want other women to wait that long. I think that dealing with this inner stuff is critical when women want to go out on their own because the inner demons are going to rear up big time. When we try to get outside our comfort zone and do something as big as building our own business, we are going to get gut punched by fear and insecurity and self-doubt. You're nodding, so I know that
Yep.
you know that up close and personal. You felt that. And I've seen it over and over again with women who, they are not prepared for that mental crap. It's like their mind is turning on them just at the moment when they need courage to go forward, and their mind is just dragging them back and down. And that's why I'm so passionate about it, because executive women have a lot to give the world, but they're holding themselves back from making the jump into self-employment. And I don't want them to hold themselves back anymore.
Well, why do you think there's such a need for coaching in this area right now?
Because we've never dealt with it. This is not something, maybe some people recognize it because they've gone through therapy, or maybe they're just an especially self-enlightened people. But most people have not dealt with this. And the framework of my consulting, my coaching, is a program called Positive Intelligence, and the concept is mental fitness, and that's building up, building the muscle in one part of our brain and weakening the survivor brain. Their research shows that only 20% of people think positive most of the time. Most of us have at least 75% of the thoughts that we're thinking on any given day or at any given moment are negative. We don't even realize it. And, and we have absolutely no idea how to fix it.
Well, and I was thinking that in particular, it seems that post-COVID, everyone kind of took a reevaluation of, what am I doing with my life? And what do I want to be doing with my life? And so many people decided to make a switch. And so I feel like right now, this really is a critical need, and that women are kind of, if they're like me and they have these kinds of thoughts and feelings, if they started businesses in COVID, anytime within the last 3 years, they are hitting these roadblocks. They might have had some short-term success, but even if they had a really good start, and not a lot of them did, even if they did have a really good start, they're probably banging their heads up against this right now.
Absolutely. And my guess is that a lot of them will quit.
And what a pity.
Yeah, and what a pity, because what a blow to their self-esteem, and what a loss to the world of people that they could serve.
So how do your clients find you?
Well, right now they don't. I am just in the throes of launching this. I have been shadowboxing with copy for my website. My website isn't up yet, but you can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram as the SagePreneur. So SagePreneur. I had to think about how to spell it.
We'll put a link in, so you don't have to worry about the spelling.
And on LinkedIn, just search for AJ Riedel.
Okay.
Find me on LinkedIn. That's where I'm most active.
So what are you envisioning would be your typical engagement with someone in terms of length and like number of times per week, or what would that look like?
I have a 6-month program, and it starts, the foundation of it is Positive Intelligence has a 6-week program that's a boot camp. It teaches you the basics of mental fitness and the 3 strategies for building your mental fitness. My own experience showed me that it's just a boot camp. I mean, you do not get in any sort of mental fitness with just 6 weeks of practice. And for me personally, it took me 6 months to see a fundamental difference in my positive versus negative thoughts and mindset. It takes that long. I mean, we are running up against really deeply entrenched old thought patterns that we're having to reprogram. And that takes a whole lot of time. And we're developing new habits, and that takes a whole lot of time. So the program is 6 months. It starts with the 6-week Positive Intelligence program that is included in it. And that is a cool program because it's app-based. So it gives you, right on your app, it gives you your daily PQ gym. So my process starts when somebody signs up for the 6-month program. We start with assessments to figure out where they are, what their positive intelligence quotient is, which is that you've heard of IQ and you've heard of EQ. Well, PQ is positive intelligence quotient, and that is, are you positive or negative in your thoughts patterns? So I start with assessments. I do that one. I do a self-compassion assessment just to figure out where they are, do the 6-week PQ program. And then the rest of the time, the other 4.5 months are topics. Some of them are positive intelligence. One of the modules is on self-love. because that's another problem that we women especially have is, you know, a lot of us feel like we're not good enough. And at the root of that is that we don't have a fundamental base of self-love and self-compassion. So we cover self-compassion and self-love. I do a one-on-one coaching call every 2 weeks. And we have an accountability meeting because I have a group of people go through the program at the same time. So we have a once a week accountability program so that we all hold each other accountable on what we say we're going to do.
I think that sounds wonderful. And I like that piece where you're talking about having a cohort, a group of people to do it, because I think that peer element is really critical. So if you had a woman who was transitioning into entrepreneurship, at what point would it be critical to talk to you? Is it when she's first initially thinking about it, or is it when her business is successfully started? Like, at what point would it be perfect for her to find you?
First thing, when she's just starting to think of transitioning. So she, you know, if she comes up with an idea and says, this is what I want to do, or even if she hasn't come up with the idea, but she is dreaming, she knows she's made for more and she knows she's made for her own business. When she starts to think about it at that point, that's when we want to lay that solid foundation of mental fitness and good habits so that she has that. So she's built a solid foundation. And when she starts to build the house of her, you know, starts to build her business, it's built on a solid foundation.
Well, that makes sense because as one, it really is an uphill battle every single day. And so if you could remove some of that baggage, then everything going forward would be so much easier. That makes total sense to me.
Yeah, because
So
you know what we fight with, we're fighting a battle in our brain because we've got voices in our head that says, who do you think you are to think you can go out and start a business? We have another voice that says, you don't know enough. Maybe you should go get another, you know, a PhD or an MBA or some sort of additional education, or you should take more courses or get certified in this. You know, another voice says you're not good enough. You can't do this. I mean, those are those that we battle those, and we often battle those at a subconscious level, so we don't know what's going on. All we know is that we're having a struggle.
yep.
You know,
Sounds familiar. Yep.
Yep.
So, how can people find out more or find out more about you, find you, sign up? What's the process?
So at this point, the best way is to email me and my email is AJR. So it's Apple Juice Roger at the number 4 RMG Roger Mary George.com. So AJR at the number 4 RMG.com. That's the best way to catch me and interact with me before I get my website up.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. This was very, very enlightening. And I think this is tremendous work. And you are going to be incredibly successful at it because I know you. And I think just women need it. And so I think you're going to find there's a lot of demand, a lot of demand.
Thank you. From your lips to God's ears.
All right. Well, that's it for this Boots in Baltimore. Thank you. And check out AJ's website, contact her by email, and we'll see you soon.